Do your old nostalgia-ridden games hold up after a while? Well, that's what I wanted to find out when I fired up an old gem from 2003 called Fairly Odd Parents Breakin' the Rules. Welcome to the first ever Static Shock Summary. When you think of cartoon games in the PS2 era, what is your first thought? Ed, Edd n Eddy? Simpsons Hit and Run? Well, I find that for most people, it's SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. And for good reason. While that is the most iconic, I always had a soft spot for this game, and I wanted to see if it actually held up after all these years. As most of you know, Fairly Odd Parents is a show about a boy with two fairy godparents named Cosmo and Wanda who grant him wishes to solve his everyday problems. His main issues range from an evil babysitter named Vicky to a kooky teacher who believes fairies are out there, named Crocker. Well, in this game, Vicky gets her icky hands on the rulebook, which ends up causing a lot of trouble for Timmy, Wanda, and Cosmo. Just like a criminal, we have to answer to the court, which tells us that we must retrieve the pages from the rulebook. Or else. I just want to say, why does Vicky keep wishing for stuff non-stop? Who actually says the word wish this much unless you actually have fairy godparents? In terms of the actual game, the first thing I noticed was that the graphics held up for the most part. Sure, the models could look derpy, the animation itself in cutscenes is pretty bad sometimes, but in terms of colors and textures, it wasn't bad at all. The audio is another story though. It sounds compressed, kind of like you're listening to a 1960s TV show.
Here, the villains escaped to the other panel. We have to chase the villain, Cleft.
The controls are pretty basic, being a platformer. You mainly just have to focus on jumping to reach different places. Now, you have your choice as to where you want to start your adventure. And I happen to start with Cincinnati. Vicky wished that we get trapped in there, and we do. For this area, we have to undo her wish of making the Crimson Chin a Redditor. In order to undo her wishes in every area, you'll be greeted with how pretty much almost every map will go. You collect stars, gain wishes to advance through the area via new abilities, and then you finish the area, usually by beating a boss. And then boom, you undo the wish, and the level is complete. I'm glad I started with this one because I found it to be the worst one. The grapple ability that requires you to zoom in is pretty poorly done, and I even got stuck in an area that required it. It was really wonky. I also found Spatula Woman and the Gilded Arches to be very forgettable. First try, baby. First try.
What the hell? Oh my god!
Next up was the Vicky virus. We lived every young gamer's dream of being transported into a video game world along with our two friends. The area had a nice digital feel, but was otherwise the most generic in my opinion. Saving and then using Chester and AJ was nice. The vehicles were kind of fun too. The boss was okay. Better than the ones in Cincinnati for sure. All of that manages to put the Vicky virus above the first area for me. A badge too far brought a stealth element to the game, and it was a decent change of pace. Not much to say for this area other than that the sneaky was okay. The Cosmo Wood Muncher 3000 was cool, and the final mission was really fun. They did their best Crash Bandicoot impression here, and it was a nice way to end the level. At this point we took a break, started up next week, and I was pretty excited to finish this game. We started this session with Mini Timmy. Vicky wished that we could somehow clean every nook and cranny of the disgusting bathroom, and the rulebook ended up making us every single man's nightmare. Being under 6 feet tall. Well, actually, we became microscopic, so same thing. This area was a real step up from the others in terms of how fun the upgrades are, how annoying the enemies and bosses were. And the platforming was not bad at all here. It was just a stinky good time overall. Time warped. Oh, time warped. In my opinion, this was the defining level of the entire game. Going back in time, trying the most difficult challenge of all, pulling Excalibur out of the stone. Finally, After 3 years of remembering the struggle, the grind it took to defeat this gargantuan challenge, I beat it in like 3 seconds. The most memorable and difficult part in all of this game. And then I did it right away.
This boy.
I swear this was harder as a
He
kid.
must be the true king of England. I must tell everyone.
The medieval area was nice, and it had some good throwbacks to the cartoon. The ancient Greece area had the memorable bathhouse area, and the Egyptian area was very Egyptian-y. After that, it was a dog's life. It's a nice change of pace again, because we become a dog. It's really fun to just fly around with your tail and dig around. You get to run around the mall trying to make yourself as unlovable as my dad jokes in order to be able to wish yourself back into a human. The only downside of this level, in my opinion, was the absence of a boss. Crash Landing had us deal with good old Yugopotamians after Vicky wished that Dimsdale was attacked by aliens. Timmy saves the day in his Crash Nebula suit that has some pretty cool abilities. The final stage was more of a challenge than the rest so far, but it was nothing too difficult. This is a kid's game after all. Now, Bad Luck 101 is probably my new favorite area. Timmy has to go to school on a Saturday, which is bad enough. And now he has to deal with bad luck thanks to Vicky wishing it so. This level has it all. Sneaking around, 4 villains, rocket boots, good platforming, and honestly the most difficult / enjoyable boss to date. After that, we had to appear in court for a preteen jury duty. I mean, we had to appear to show them that we fixed everything. The court reveals that we are missing the table of contents from the book. That, of course, is enough to keep Wanda and Cosmo weaker than my editing skills. Jorgen Von Totally Not Schwarzenegger then says we must take part in the ultimate challenge, where we face off against Vicky, who is now a dragon for reasons. The ultimate challenge is that we must make her say, "I wish I never took the book from Timmy," by getting her to press the buttons. The battle is somewhat disappointing since it's pretty much Miss Spatula all over again, but regardless, we end up dragging, get it, the wish out of Vicky and fixing everything. And that's about it. There's still a little more magic to uncover in the form of collectible Crimson Chin cards. If you want to squeeze a little more content out of the game, you can go collect the ones you may have missed. Honestly, I commend the game for not overstaying its welcome. It paces itself pretty well, and you can finish things up with around 5 to 10 hours of game time. It just depends on how good you are at platforming and if you're hunting for all the cards. Did this game redefine the genre? No, but it didn't need to. It played it safe, but it captured the show's essence and scratched the platforming itch. The audio may have been bad, but the performances were pretty good. I'm pretty sure they had the original voice actors. The visuals were nice, platforming was enjoyable for the most part, and if you enjoy the cartoon, I recommend it. It'll scratch your magical itch. At the end of the day, this game isn't going to be in any top 10 list for PS2 era games, but I can confidently say that it was very decent for what it was. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Feel free to leave any constructive criticism, and I'll see you for the next one.